Good afternoon, YouTubers. See, the cowardly trolls are at it again. Poor old Trevor Coult. He's someone's started up a Twitter channel called Trevor Coult MC, and they're blacking his name. He doesn't have a Twitter. He doesn't do Twitter. So if you go on Twitter, please report the channel that says Trevor Coult MC. It's not Trevor. Okay, they're probably trying to raise money in his name for some bizarre cause. So please report it. It's not Trevor Coult. Okay, he has nothing to do with it. He has nothing to do with Twitter. It's been reported to him. So please get the word around all about that. And most of you know Trevor Coult anyway, who are on my channel. But for those of you who don't, Trevor's an ex-army veteran from the British Army. And he campaigns quite tirelessly for veterans and ex-veterans. And he said the other day there's a load of homeless veterans in the UK. He reckons there's something like 5,500 homeless veterans, British Army ex-veterans in the UK. And one of them carried Princess Diana's coffin, and he froze to death in a graveyard over Christmas. Homeless. Ed must have been gone a bit, and he was in a sleeping bag in a graveyard. Others sleeping in shop doorways and things like this. And the other astonishing thing is there are 1,800 plus veterans charities in the UK, and yet there are 5,500 homeless veterans on the streets in the UK. So why isn't something more being done to house homeless veterans? It's not Trevor's job. Trevor doesn't run a charity. As far as I know, Trevor's got no intention of running a charity, but making it aware to charities that are, because they're the ones who are raising money for charities for homeless veterans and various other things that veterans need. And I would have thought the answer was obvious, and I was discussing it with Trevor the other day. The Nissen Hut. The Nissen Hut's a brilliant idea. If you think of Nissan, the Japanese car manufacturer, it's very similar but spelt slightly different. It's EN, not AN. So if you type in Nissen Hut with EN, you'll see. And the Nissen Hut was a brilliant British idea, and it was for temporary housing for soldiers, and it came along in the First World War. And these are very cheap huts that can be erected for soldiers' accommodation, and they worked. They were really good, and they could be put up in less than a day, and they're not expensive. And if there's 1,800 charities out there, they could all buy one Nissen Hut, okay, with the idea of housing soldiers, ex-veterans who are living on the street. Like, it's not the be-all and end-all, it's not the solution, but it's the next step, isn't it, up on the road to recovery, I would think, because soldiers don't need a lot. When I was in the army, we had a bed and a locker, which was a wardrobe. That was it. And you got in there, obviously you got toilets and showers and a washing machine, but we even had to just do our washing in the sink sometimes with a scrubbing brush. But if you got toilets and showers and the heater in these Nissen Huts, they used to be like a wood burner, and they just burn rubbish to keep warm. But I mean, if you look at some of these Nissen Huts, some of them still exist from the First World War, because they could be built cheaply, or they could be built well, they could be maintained. And if all these charities had just one hut, they could call it Operation Nissen Hut or something like that, and they could house people who wanted to be housed. Veterans. And they could put them up, and things start off small and work from there, don't they? I mean, don't forget, today you've got much better thermal insulation that you can put in between the sheets. You've got plastic corrugated sheets that you could use instead of iron ones. You've got double glazing, you've got plastic water risers. It could be done really cheaply and really effectively, and these charities are raising money. There's 1,800 charities raising money for veterans, and I think they would do well. Okay, because there's manufacturing companies that still manufacture Nissen Huts. Okay, you can buy them; they're not expensive. People use them as garages and sheds, and because it's a genius idea. It's a really, really good idea. They're not the best looking buildings in the world, but they were never meant to be. They were meant to be practical, and they do work. So why aren't these charities buying them and putting one hut in each charity in different 1,800 different places all around the UK? I don't see any reason why they can't do this and house veterans. And as Trevor said, if every charity could house just 4 veterans, that's the solution. The problem's over. And then you can look at mental health and getting people back on the road to recovery in their lives. But at least it's getting people off the street where they're going to starve or freeze to death. And I can't believe why people are not doing this now. Why? I mean, if you've got a charity and it's there and you're raising money for it, why not do something? What are you doing out there?